Thanks for joining me. Welcome to this flip preaching video. This week we're going to have a look at a brilliant passage from the book of Mark, as we've been following for the last few weeks. This time though it's Mark chapter 5, 21 to 43, and it contains two stories which have been woven together by Mark. Okay, so the first story begins with a man, a very wealthy Jewish leader, who falls on his feet before Jesus, and he asks him on behalf of his young daughter for two things. He asks that she will be saved and that she will have life because she's very poorly. Okay, now on the way to heal this daughter, Jesus gets caught up in a large crowd, and someone in the crowd, a woman who has been bleeding, menstrually bleeding for 12 years, touches the hem of his garment, and she's healed instantly. She's cured, I should say. So she stops bleeding, and Jesus seeks her out. So he looks through the crowd. He asks, "Who was it who touched me?" And she owns up, and he calls her beautifully his daughter. And he redeems her. He brings her back into fullness of relationship. Okay, then he goes off with the first man, and he finds this man's 12-year-old daughter in bed, and by then she had died. But Jesus says to her, "Arise," because being dead is no problem if you're God. So Jesus said to this little girl, "Arise," and she wakes up. And she gets up, she comes back to life, and Jesus talks to her, and beautifully he says, "Give her some food, give her something to eat." And that's the end of the first story. So we had the first story interrupted. So I'm going to try and put all these little sketches back together in order. So two female characters, two people who Jesus shouldn't have had any contact with, are brought back into full wholeness. They have a two-stage healing. They're both cured and they're both healed. They're both called daughter, both the young girl and the older woman, a sign of intimacy, and they're both brought back into the full love of God. They're both not just cured, they're also healed. From being outcasts, they're brought right back into the heart of God's love.